Good morning, students. Today I am going to discuss another poetry from your first flight book, A Tiger in the Zoo by Leslie Norris. George Leslie Norris was a prize-winning Welsh poet and short story writer. He is considered as most important Welsh writers of the post-war period, and his literary works have won many prizes. Introduction. The poem aims to bring out the plight of a tiger in a zoo. The poet presents two contrasting pictures of a tiger in a zoo, and tiger in his natural habitat. The poet takes the reader from zoo to jungle and then from jungle to the zoo. The tiger's natural habitat is the jungle and its vast lands. Its natural instinct is to hunt, but the caged tiger is deprived of expressing his natural instincts and behaviors. The poem brings out how a tiger in a zoo has to suffer because of the insensitivity and selfishness of man. Now, theme. Here the poet emphasizes the theme of freedom. He says, freedom is an essential virtue valued by all. Not only humans but even the denizens of the forest value it. No one knows it better than a caged tiger in a zoo. Animals, particularly the animals of the wilds, feel free only in their natural habitats, and any attempt to domesticate ferocious and mighty animals like tiger by locking him in concrete cells will be against natural justice. This is morally wrong, as man has no right to harm and destroy other lives. Now, explanation of the poem. Before explaining the lines, I am reading out the lines and also giving some words' meanings. Just look at the lines. He stalks in his vivid stripes the few steps of his cage, on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet race. Here, the word he refers to the tiger. The poet has used personification for the tiger, as he is referring the tiger as he, not it. The word stalks means to walk proudly or angrily. Vivid means very bright or clear. Pads of velvet refer to the paws of the tiger, which are very soft like velvet. And rage means violent anger. This stanza presents the plight of a tiger caged in a zoo. The tiger paces up and down within the limited space of his cage. The stripes of his body are clearly visible. He walks quietly on his soft velvety pads without making noise. The tiger doesn't seem to be happy to be in his unnatural abode, but feels helpless. He cannot do anything to come out of this prison. So, without showing his anger, he walks around quietly in his cage. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the waterhole where plump deer pass. Here the word lurking means waiting secretly. Shadow means darkness. Sliding through, it means moving smoothly and quietly. And plump means fat. In the second stanza, the poet suggests that cage is not the proper place for the tiger. He is a denizen of the forest, and there he is totally free with no restrictions on his movement and activities. He knows how to ambush his prey. So the poet says that the tiger should somewhere be in the jungle, waiting secretly in the shadow of long grasses to prey on the deer who come to drink water near the water hole. By this, the poet means that the tiger would be living naturally in the forest as nature intended him to live. He would not have been at the mercy of human beings. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. Here the word snarling means making an aggressive growl. Baring means not covered. White fangs means two long sharp teeth. In this stanza, the poet proceeds further, giving another suggestion that the tiger should be sitting on the outskirts of the jungle, snarling around houses and terrorizing the villagers passing that way by showing its sharp teeth, baring his claws, and producing low sound of anger. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Here the word concrete cell means a cell made up of concrete. Bars means prison, and ignoring means paying no attention. The poet says that unfortunately the tiger is not left free in the jungle, but he is imprisoned in the concrete cell. All his strength is locked behind the bars as he is helpless and cannot come out. There, locked in the cage, he walks arrogantly, showing no interest in looking at the visitors who come to see him. But he is helpless. He can do nothing to free him from this terrible bondage. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Here the last voice at night refers to the last voice heard at night. Patrolling cars which patrol or keep watch, and stares means looks for a long time. Here the poet presents the scene of a cage where the tiger is sitting feeling unpleasant and restless. He hears the sound created by the patrolling cars of the zoo authorities. The tiger ignores that sound and just stares at the shining stars. He probably wishes to be out in the open